Now, if you play Rainbow Six Siege, it's no surprise to you that the operators we play as are from the team Rainbow. Even if you aren't brushed up on the lore, even if you don't understand a lot of it, that's pretty much a given, and I'm pretty sure all of you are aware of that. I don't really have to explain much there. You have operatives recruited from around the world, from many different CTUs, and more recently different unaffiliated backgrounds as well, being recruited to join this NATO-based worldwide counter-terrorism unit. And that was always the case since launch, up until Operation Shifting Tide, where a new player was introduced into the lore, which also had its effect on gameplay as well. And that was the introduction of the operatives Kali and Wamai, as well as Kali's private military, Nighthaven. Now, this probably isn't a surprise to a lot of people, but Nighthaven's introduction to Rainbow Six Siege wasn't just for lore purposes. It was to also influence gameplay as well. The introduction of this private military, which has its different rules from Rainbow, it has its different overseers, allowed the gameplay to also benefit from that, allowing new different types of gadgets to be introduced to the game. For example, Wamai's magnet, which came with that season, was developed by Nighthaven. The introduction of this new separate organization also allowed the people making these new operatives and the gameplay and balancing to have these new toys to introduce and a reason to introduce them into the gameplay. With the Rainbow operatives focusing on more military-esque gadgets, and Nighthaven having some of the more fun, experimental prototype ones from this private military. Looking back on it, it was a really bold decision to introduce a brand new group into Rainbow Six Siege, but I definitely think it's paid off, and I like Nighthaven a lot. They've also had their influence on maps as well, with one of the most regarded maps in the game, Nighthaven Labs, allowing to have this different perspective and take on what a siege map can be. You look at a lot of the older maps, which are based off of real-life events. You've got Oregon, which is based off the Waco Siege. The map Plane is most likely based off of the GIGN Air France operation. These are realistic locations in which Rainbow would have to be deployed, and the maps reflected that style of Rainbow. But with then the introduction of Nighthaven, that also allowed us to get maps like Nighthaven Labs. And now, that of course didn't mean we would stop getting Rainbow ops. We would then continue to get both Rainbow and Nighthaven ops, and we would get them in unison, allowing to have this broader pool of atmosphere, location, gadgets, and just this side to pull from. Even look at Scopos. Although she is an ex-Rainbow operative and now has returned as a Rainbow operative, her robots were actually made by Osa from Nighthaven, which was before the whole breaking apart and everything. If you understand the lore, you get it. I'm not going to go too in deep in it here. But that is another example of Nighthaven allowing gameplay developers to have a bit more freedom with their choices. Same with the observation blockers as well. Many of the gadgets in Rainbow Six Siege are developed by Rainbow, but this one, which is a bit more advanced, you can actually see it is developed by Nighthaven by looking at the decal on the side of the gadget. And I'm not saying that there isn't a chance Rainbow themselves could have done all of this. They most likely could have, but I think it's kind of nice to have this alternative group in the story, so then when gameplay developers are looking what creative freedom they have to make gadgets, they can take the more grounded ones from the Rainbow side and maybe these more still realistic but futuristic items from the Nighthaven side. And that leads us to Year 9 Rainbow Six Siege, where we've had an operative introduced from a group which isn't a Rainbow squad or Nighthaven, and that is Deimos with the Keres Legion. And I know a lot of you may be saying, well, Deimos is an ex-Rainbow operative though, he was part of the older squads in the older games. You can still pass him off as being a Rainbow op. But that is not the one we have in game. We're not playing as old Rainbow Gerald Morris. We are playing as Deimos. It even states in his bio that he is affiliated with the Keres Legion. And a lot of people get confused here. Although he is playable, he isn't a part of Rainbow. He's in Rainbow's custody right now, but he isn't a part of their team. They keep him monitored and they use him for intel which they take with a grain of salt. So with this introduction of this third group now being playable in Rainbow Six Siege, it does beg the question, what more can we then pull from the Keres Legion? Because with Nighthaven being having the little story excuse to be able to bring in some more futuristic gadgets, can we now do the same with the Keres Legion? And can we also then start to get more Keres Legion operators and maybe some gadgets? Gadgets which would be a bit off the playbook, since the Keres Legion are a bad organization. This is a step which Ubisoft haven't fully taken yet, and we don't exactly know if they're going to go in this direction, because Nighthaven, yeah, they went fully into that. They embraced that, they took operators and gadgets from that, but Nighthaven aren't bad people. They're a private military, they have soldiers from real CTUs in their ranks, so they have respected people in them. They work for good. Nighthaven are good people. The thing with Keres Legion is that they aren't. They are a terrorist organization. And they've taken one foot in the door by adding Deimos, which you can maybe excuse, again, because he's ex-Rainbow, and because of the fact that he's in their custody, and that is the sort of loose explanation for him being playable. I just want to step in and say, there doesn't have to be an explanation for an operator to be playable in Rainbow Six Siege. They don't have to justify it with the lore. They've actually already done that with Grim. Grim is a Nighthaven operative. However, he joined the game after Rainbow and Nighthaven went their separate ways. So if we go down this aspect of all operatives that should be playable should have a lore explanation, then Grim shouldn't exist. He never interacted with these Rainbow ops. But if you're like me, I don't really care if it doesn't necessarily make sense in the gameplay. I don't care that Deimos and Grim are playable in the game. The gameplay has never been a true reflection of the lore. In the lore, Grim doesn't interact with these ops, and Deimos is a bad guy who's in Rainbow's custody. But at the end of the day, we enjoy those characters in the story, so it's fun for them to be in the gameplay. Maybe it's me, but it doesn't detach me from the story or detach me from the game that Deimos is playable or that Grim is playable. I think it's cool, because to me, Rainbow Six Siege's gameplay is a fun toy box of the elements of the lore. You have these characters in the lore, you have these gadgets in the lore. The gameplay we're playing is just a fun toy box of all of these thrown together and us players using them for fun, because it's a video game at the end of the day. And if the introduction of the Keres Legion into the gameplay with Deimos and potential further bad operatives benefits the creative decisions which the developers can do when it comes to adding maps, weapons, or anything else, I mean, just take a look at Lair, that is the base of the Keres Legion, then I think that's perfectly fine, and I'd love to see what they could develop further. Maybe there is a gadget that is deemed to be too off the playbooks and, dare I say it, illegal for Rainbow or Nighthaven to use. Well, if you introduce this as a Keres Legion gadget, you could introduce that into the gameplay, and the lore explanation is this is what the bad people use. But right now, as of Year 9 Season 3, it's a bit early to see if Ubisoft are going to go down this route with the Keres Legion like they did with Nighthaven. Heck, a lot of the story right now is focusing on taking down the Keres Legion, so I guess that also depends on how long they want to keep the Keres Legion in the story. But to me, having this evil faction in Rainbow Six Siege honestly makes a lot of sense gameplay wise, and at the end of the day, if it benefits us as the player and it benefits the creative freedom of the people developing these operators, and I think they should go for it, and I think it could result in many cool ways. If we didn't embrace Nighthaven into the gameplay, we wouldn't have Nighthaven Lab, we wouldn't have most of the Nighthaven gadgets or operators. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all of this. Do you think they're going to go down this route with the Keres Legion like they did with Nighthaven? Do you think it's beneficial for the game for these other groups to be implemented into the gameplay and we get some gadgets which Rainbow wouldn't typically use? I mean, if we're being honest, we're going into the first decade, year 10 of Rainbow Six Siege. It's stuff like this which keeps the gameplay interesting and the updates fresh. But yeah, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. Shall catch you all later. My dog's barking. Have an incredible rest of your day. Peace.